Good morning, children, and welcome to all of you in online classes. Dear students, we are discussing second chapter in Flamingo book, and in this chapter we have discussed that how Anis Jung met to the barefoot children, how she was interacted with them, how she asked many questions to them, how she promised to open one school for them, how she could not complete and fulfill her promise. We also discussed that in previous video that the narrator and writer of the lesson, Anis Jung, who worked as a columnist and editor in different newspaper, how she visited in the locality Simapuri, which is situated at the border of Delhi, or how 10,000 people, migrated people, came from Dhaka, or how they were living and spending a miserable life there. We discussed in the previous video or in the previous videos. Dear students, we have also discussed that how Anis Jung went there, how she saw their problems, how they were living in a temporary house, how they were living in huts. We have also discussed, dear students, in the previous videos that Anis Jung, the writer of the lesson, she pointed out that there was no drainage system, there was no sewer, there was no facility of pure drinking water, or in such miserable conditions the people were forced to live. But ultimately, after living 30 years, they came in 1970, and after living 30 years in the same city, dear students, they ultimately got ration card, or their name was registered in voter list. I have also told you that their identity was not important. What was more important for them, that their survival. When the writer Anis Jung, narrator Anis Jung, asked to one of the lady why they are living in such miserable condition, so she replied that if at the end of the day they are going to their bed without aching their stomach, without empty stomach, so that is better than those fields of Dhaka, those green fields of Dhaka, where they were not in position to fill their stomach also. So this particular garbage is surely and certainly a very important source of survival for them. We discussed on that day. Dear students, we have to discuss today that how she asked different things to them, how she discussed about their leaking roof, how she discussed and got information that in Simapuri rag picking was only the source of survival. Simapuri means only the source of survival was rag picking. Or not only the family of Sahib-e-Alam, but 10,000 families, they were living there. They were spending their life in such way. Dear students, open page number 16. I sometimes find a rupee, even a 10 rupee notes, Sahib says. Sahib, the main character of the story, he tells the narrator that sometimes he find even a rupee or 10 rupees note, or whenever he states this, so his eyes are full of hope, his eyes are full of there is a happy expression on his face. Or whenever many times they used to get coins also, silver coins, gold coins sometimes, or due to that they used to search in the heap of garbage in this hope that they will surely get either silver or gold or 10 rupee note or any valuable items. For in this hope, the many children, many barefoot children, they are always busy there. Or here is given ki I for children it is wrapped of wonder, for elders it is means of survival. That garbage, what was the meaning for them? For the children it was a means of wonder. It is wrapped in wonder, or for the elders it was the means of survival. Or one winter morning, writer Anis Jung and narrator of the lesson, she found that Mr. Sahibe Walam was standing at one of the gate and he was wearing a sports shoe, discarded sports shoe. One winter morning, I see Sahib standing by the fenced gate of the neighborhood club, or he was watching what he was watching. He was watching the game of two young men who were dressed in white, or they were playing tennis. Sahib Alam's dream was also to play tennis, but as his economical condition was not better, so how he could do that, how he could play that tennis game? But as he was fond of that, as he wanted to play, as he loved that game, so he was standing outside and he was watching those people who were playing the game. Or what happened, dear students? Sahib is wearing tennis shoes. Or that tennis shoes look strange over his discolored shirt and shorts. Or he told that someone gave him, or he told about the fact of that discarded shoes, the fact that they were discarded shoes of some rich people. The shoes which Sahib Alam has worn, those shoes were discarded, useless, thrown by rich people's children, who perhaps refused to wear, because for them it was useless, or for Mr. Sahib Alam it was useful. It was only the way to fulfill his dream, to fulfill his wish. For one who has walked barefoot, even shoes with a hole is a dream come true. But the game he is watching so intently, dear students, that particular game is out of his reach. Means that tennis game was out of his reach. He could not play, he could not go and play with rich people. He could not get such opportunity. He can only dream. Though he arranged that discarded shoes, though he got that shorts and t-shirt, but that game which the two people were playing, means tennis game, that was out of reach of Mr. Sahib Alam. So this is the condition, miserable condition of Sahib Alam and many other children. Thousands of the people who were living at Simapuri, at border of Delhi. Last paragraph, dear students. This morning Sahib is on his way to milk booth, or finally one morning, one day, narrator Anis Jung found, she met Mr. Sahib Alam in a strange condition, or she found that Sahib Alam on his way to the milk booth. Sahib Alam was going to take milk from the milk booth, or in his hand there was a bag in that he used to collect, he used to keep valuable items. But in his hand on that day, narrator observed, narrator found there was a steel canister. There was a small tin box in his hand. Or he informed the narrator that presently he was working as on a tea stall. Where it is written, or what he said, what Sahib Alam told narrator, I now work in a tea stall down the road. While going to the milk booth, writer met to the Sahib Alam met to the narrator Anis Jung, or he informed narrator that he was working on a tea stall. Or he also says that he was paid 800 rupees, he was getting 800 rupees salary also there, or all his meals. To the boy to whom the writer met in the beginning, see at the last, in the last paragraph, situation is completely changed. The boy is having canister in his hand, steel canister, going to milk booth for bringing the milk. As he was working at his stall, he was also getting 800 rupees and all his meals. The situation now was better, but what thing he was missing? Does he like the job? I ask. Writer inquired whether he liked his new job, new work or not. His face, I see, has lost in carefree look, lost in without worry. Or that writer observed that Mr. Sahib Alam was not happy at all with his new job. The steel canister seems heavier than the plastic bag he would carry so lightly. That plastic bag was lighter than this steel canister, or this steel canister was looking heavier than that plastic bag. What I want to tell you, dear students, कि in new job, in new work, Mr. Sahib Alam was not free at all. He was not the master of his own will. He could not work freely. Or there in his old job, in his rag picking, work of rag picking, he was free to go anywhere, he was free to do anything. But here on this stall, in new work, in new job, he was totally controlled by the owner of tea stall. So that freedom was missing. Understood? So it is all about part first of Lost Spring, dear students. And in next video, I will tell you part second, the second story of this Lost Spring. second part. That is also the story of poor children. Thank you, dear students. If you have any confusion, you may ask. That's all.